Good evening, Franklin County. Last night, Franklin County Commissioners held an extended public discussion about the county's flock license plate cameras. No vote was scheduled and none was taken, but Sheriff Seitz, District Attorney Ian Brink, and county residents placed enough information on the public record to give us the clearest explanation yet of what the cameras collect, how law enforcement uses the information, and why some residents remain concerned. We'll break down the strongest arguments from both sides without the personal attacks and unsupported claims that occasionally entered the discussion. Also, everyone escaped an early morning duplex fire in Chambersburg. A paving schedule has changed, and we have two local options for those looking for something to do. I'm Frank, and this is The Drop. The Franklin County Commissioners advertised Wednesday's meeting with an additional discussion about flock cameras, followed by public comment. Commissioner John Flannery said at the beginning the commissioners had not taken a formal position on flock. He also explained that Sheriff Seitz is an independently elected official who controls the operation of his department. The commissioners did approve the agreement and funding through the sheriff's budget, but they do not decide when an officer performs an individual search. District Attorney Ian Brink spoke first and focused specifically on the current law. Brink cited court decisions holding that drivers generally do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy of a visible license plate or their movements on a public road. He distinguished that information from private data contained on a cell phone. His position was that under current Pennsylvania precedent, using license plate readers for a legitimate criminal investigation is lawful. That answers an important legal question, but it does not settle the entirety of the policy debate. Something can be legal while residents still debate how long the information should be kept, who should be permitted to search it, and what public oversight should exist. Sheriff Seitz then explained how Franklin County's system operates. The cameras take images of passing vehicles. Those records can include a license plate, the time and location of the observation, and visible characteristics of the vehicle. Seitz confirmed that those ordinary captures form a searchable database. That does not mean the system continuously follows a vehicle like a GPS tracker. It does mean investigators can search stored observations to determine whether and where a particular vehicle passed one of the participating cameras. Seitz said the system does not automatically alert officers about speeding, expired registrations, or other minor traffic violations. Alerts are generally connected to vehicles entered into a law enforcement hot list, including such things as stolen vehicles, wanted suspects, missing persons, and specific criminal investigations. An alert is also not supposed to become an automatic proof of crime. Seitz said officers must collaborate the information before taking enforcement action. According to the sheriff, officers accessing the system must provide legitimate investigative reason and case number. Searches are logged, and the system contains auditing features intended to identify potential misuse. Seitz said unauthorized use could produce administrative discipline or criminal investigations. The county spent approximately $4,500 on the system, according to Seitz. He said Franklin County's camera data belongs to the county and is encrypted and is stored separately within a government cloud system. Private businesses may also own flock cameras. Seitz used Lowe's as an example. Information collected by private businesses remains separate but may be provided to law enforcement for legitimate investigation. Those private businesses do not receive access to the law enforcement databases or criminal hot list merely because they own a camera. The sheriff also announced an important change involving retention. Franklin County's captures are currently retained for 30 days. Sites said that he intends to move to 7-day retention following Flock's newly recommended practice. Until that change is implemented or placed into written policy, the precise wording matters. This was an announced intention, not a policy change approved by the commissioners on Wednesday night. Sites credit the technology with 37 investigative wins and discussed approximately 17 examples. He said the Flock information had assisted with investigations including wanted suspects, stolen vehicles, missing juveniles, a homicide suspect, a domestic violence, illegal firearms, drug distribution, and a suspect accused of abusing a juvenile. Those examples matter, especially when a missing person or a potentially violent suspect must be located quickly. But these were figures and case summaries provided by the sheriff. We do not currently possess the underlying case list needed to independently determine how decisive Flock was in each outcome. During public comment, residents generally accepted that the technology can help law enforcement. Their strongest objections focused on the scale of collection and whether the internal controls provided enough independent accountability. Robert Clayton, who said he works in data and information systems, argued that the concern is not one police officer seeing a visible license plate. The concern, he says, is combining large numbers of observations into a searchable history. Clayton proposed 3 specific safeguards, immediately reducing retention to 7 days, creating an independent auditing process, and requiring documented approval before outside agencies searches Franklin County's information. His argument was summarized into 5 words. Trust is not control. Verification is. Another commenter, Andy Fry, said figures obtained through Pennsylvania's Right to Know showed that Franklin County's system recorded 911,386 vehicle observations during June and generated 95 hot list alerts. That would be approximately 1 alert for every 9,600 scans. Fry said the records showed the system was approaching 4 million observations through June. We have the statement that he delivered at the meeting, but we have not personally examined the Right to Know documents. Therefore, those numbers remain attributed to Fry and the records he said he received. His larger question was how many alerts were accurate, how many resulted in stops or arrests, and how many may have been false or mistaken. There is also an important qualification to that argument. A low alert rate does not automatically prove that Flock is ineffective. The system was designed to identify rare events among ordinary traffic, so most vehicles should not produce an alert. However, the figures demonstrate the scale of innocent vehicle information collected to identify those comparatively rare matches. To measure the system fairly, the public would need more than a raw number of scans or a list of successes. It would need to aggregate the information showing verified alerts, false matches, investigative uses, arrests, and cases in which Flock information made a meaningful difference. Other residents questioned exactly who is authorized to search the system, how many requests from outside agencies are approved, whether audit results should be released publicly, and whether safeguards would remain in place under future sheriffs and commissioners. Some public comments included personal remarks, comparisons, or technical claims that were not supported during the meeting. Most do not strengthen the legitimate oversight questions, and we're not using them here. This is where the 2 strongest arguments meet. Law enforcement sees a comparatively inexpensive investigative tool that can help locate stolen vehicles, missing people, and potentially dangerous suspects, especially when departments are short on people, time, and money. Critics see a searchable collection of ordinary travel whose safeguards are largely administered by the agencies using it. Both descriptions contain part of the truth. The system does not continuously track every driver like a GPS device, but it does systematically record point-in-time vehicle locations and retain them for later searches. Its use is supported by current Pennsylvania legal precedent. That does not prevent Franklin County or Pennsylvania lawmakers from considering safeguards beyond the minimum presently required by law. Commissioner Flannery closed by saying he remained mixed and would have to sleep on the issue. He acknowledged many of the concerns raised, but also said if one of his grandchildren were kidnapped, he would want Flock available to help find them. Chairman Dean Horst agreed with Flannery's remarks. Again, this meeting was held for public discussion and public comments. It was not advertised as a hearing that would end with a vote. The cameras remain in operation, and Flannery indicated that additional conversations are likely. What changed Wednesday night is that residents received a clearer explanation of the system and a more specific list of questions that could be answered if that discussion continues. Turning to Chambersburg, everyone escaped safely from an early morning duplex fire on Broad Street. Firefighters were dispatched shortly after 3 o'clock Thursday morning to the 700 block of Broad Street. The first arriving crew reported smoke coming from the second floor of a 2.5-story duplex. Firefighters entered through the rear and found fire in the kitchen had extended into the walls. All residents had escaped before the fire department arrived. Crews brought the fire under control and then spent approximately 3 hours performing overhaul and salvage work. 2 residents were reportedly displaced. The response included Chambersburg firefighters and several surrounding mutual aid departments. And a road update. A paving schedule has been changed in Southampton Township because of the weather forecast. Woods Road is now scheduled to be paved on Friday, August 21st, and Limekill Road is scheduled for Monday, August 24th. Both roads will be closed to through traffic during the paving, but remain accessible to local traffic. The township says school buses should be able to travel through the work areas. Drivers should watch for equipment, delays, and changing traffic patterns. And if you're looking for something to do tonight, Elly Cooke will perform at 7 o'clock at the Kiwanis Band Shell at Chambersburg Memorial Park. The concert is free and expected to run approximately 1 hour. Bring a chair or a blanket. The Recreation Department says the concert is a smoke-free and alcohol-free atmosphere. And the Fort Loudon Carnival continues tonight at the Fort Loudon Community Center grounds. Tonight is Sports Jersey Night. Food and games begin at 6 with the acoustic duo Parks and Roan performing from 7 to 9. Admission to the carnival is free, and ride all-night wristbands are listed at $25. Bring a lawn chair for the music, and if you're planning to head over tonight, you better get moving. Well, that's the drop for tonight, August 20th. What do you think of the new flock system? It's actually been in effect for a little bit now, but there's definitely a lot of discussion for and against it, and somewhere in between trying to figure this out. I'm still checking it out myself. So drop a comment down below if you got something to say. If not, just keep watching with the rest of us and we'll see what happens. I'm Frank. This is The Drop. Have a great evening, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Catch you later.